Hey, crafters and crocheters, are you guys ready for part 3 of our little crochet along of making a Caron Cakes blanket? Okay. Hi, my name is Jenny. Welcome to Granny Square Peg. Alright, so video number 1, part 1. We did a lot of talking. And then our initial starting chain, row 1 and row 2. Video number 2, which is part 2, we did rows 3 and 4, because 3 and 4 is what repeats the blanket, the body of the blanket, okay? So you just repeat row 3 and 4 over and over and over again until you get the length you want. So, you know, I started out with the color Pistachio. Like 4 shades of green that went into it like a creamy color. Okay, can you see that? Once I took out the middle section of the cake of yarn, because I didn't want to start with this color, I wanted to start it with the dark color. When I got done crocheting this, I have 19 rows out of my cake of yarn. That's not too bad. Right here is row number 19, and the cream ended, I don't know, about 24 inches in. If I start my next cake of yarn, which is the purple, which is Bumbleberry, if I start that, it'll be a very kind of jarring color change that's going to be in your face right here towards the beginning of the row. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take some of the cream from here and I'm going to add it to this and get down mostly towards the end of the row before I switch over to the purple. Okay? Now, I do, for a number 4 medium worsted weight yarn, I do what's called a Russian join, okay? I don't know how to explain it in words, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it real quick while I'm sitting here, and then I'm going to crochet to the end of the row, and then I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you the Russian join from a better angle when I switch over to the purple. Okay, take my little darning needle, thread the yarn, okay, and then I use the needle and I go through the fibers and the strands of the yarn, because this yarn has 4 strands, I think, in order to make up the yarn. So I thread that through there. Now, do I know why it's called the Russian join? No. I have done research upon research upon research to find out why it's called that. I have no idea. I have no idea where it originated, who created it, how long it's been around. I don't know. But I love to use it when I'm doing color changes like this. But I will show you how it's done. Okay. Now, mind you that everybody always does it a little differently than everybody else. I can't remember off the top of my head who I found that did it. Some crochet channel out there somewhere. And I like it. I like the join that it gives me. Let's see if I can. Right here is where the 2 colors are now woven together in a Russian join. So it has a little bit that comes out here, and I can just snip that off because it's a really neat join for your yarn, right? For those of you who are just tuning in now, this is part 3. You have to go find part 1 and part 2 in order to get caught up to where we're at. But it's not a race. You don't have to rush to do anything. It's in your own time frame, okay? Just take your time. Some of us crochet fast. Some people crochet slow. Some people got a lot of time on their hands. Some don't. Good. Lately, I don't have a lot of time on my hands. I'm filming these videos in advance because things have been so busy with my teenagers. So I'm actually still in the end of August. You guys should be seeing this video on Sunday, September 4th. So happy September. Alright, I'm going to turn the camera around. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to show you guys. I marked where all the color changes are that happen naturally within the cake of yarn. Let me see if I can do this. Like, right here, I put a piece of thread right here. Right here is where it went from green into the cream. See that? And then down here is where it went from, it's these two shades of green are so similar, but I can see the difference right here where it's darker and it goes into this lighter shade here. And then down here at this end, it goes from this green here into this green, right here on this stitch. You see that? That's why I wrote this pattern the way I did, with the width, with 170 stitches wide with the H hook, because of these natural color changes. I think they're beautiful and fantastic. Like here it goes from this darker olive green color into the lighter color. So I marked it everywhere. So now can you see how the pattern's starting to come out? Alright, so when I stopped with the cream color in row number 19, it was, I gotta turn it around. It was right here, okay? But I wanted more cream to finish out the row. So what I did was I used this. Now it's starting with the cream that has the green speckles to it, which I don't mind that. I like the little specks of green in there. And this is where my Russian join is. You can't even see how the yarn is joined, right? And then I just take scissors and I snip off these little ends as close as I can get. And there we go. And then go like that. Tuck that in there. And look at that. See? So, repeat of row 3 and row 4. I don't know which one I'm on. It's row number 19, so that's got to be the repeat of row 3, right? If it's an odd number. Yeah. There's my chain 2. I'm skipping these 3 single crochets and I'm doing 3 single crochets in the chain 2 space of the previous row. I'm going to chain 2. And I'm going to skip, and I'm going to, everything I do is working into the chain 2 space from the previous row. Chain 2, 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. Go 1, 2, 3. Chain 2. I'm sorry, my hands keep dropping down out of the camera frame. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. Because now that it's got a little bit of couple rows to it, it keeps falling off. Chain 2, 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, 3 single crochet, 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 chain 2. If I can get my hook to work properly. Alright, let's see. We need a little bit more yarn. Okay. 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3, chain 2. Alright, now I've only got, I don't know, what's that, 12 inches to the end. I'm going to do a few more before I switch over to the purple from Bumbleberry. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. And I'm going to do 1, 2, and then I'm going to leave that third stitch alone because I want to add in my purple from Bumbleberry now. Now, I'm going to cut that. Can move this pistachio out of the way. We don't need that anymore. Now, here comes the fun part. I know you guys love it when I take these cakes apart and I get into where I want to start with the color yarn and not where the company starts with it. And we're going to pull out all these darker shades of purple right here. I want to start with this lighter shade. I know I'm looking at it through my camera lens. It's looking blue, but it's purple. Okay. And there we go. So a little bit more purple to come out. Let's see where it starts and ends. There we go. We're going to cut it right there. And we're going to say goodbye to this darker purple. Maybe we'll use it later. I'm not sure yet. Okay. Which leaves us with this. Okay. Now let's show you how to do the Russian join from this side of the camera. Alright, I'm going to take my new starting yarn. I'm going to thread it through my darning needle and have about an inch or two hanging as a little tail right there, okay? Now I'm going to take it, I'm going to hold that tail and I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to spread these fibers apart because there should be 4 strands of fiber there to make up our yarn. I'm going to split them apart and I'm going to put the darning needle through there. See that? I do that until I have a nice big chunk of yarn on here. Can I tell you how much is on there? I don't know. It's really just by feel and intuition, okay? And then lots of practice. So you see this little loop that happened down here? I'm going to stick my finger in this loop and then I'm going to pull my darning needle through all that yarn I just did the weave through there. Pull that tail. Take your darning needle off. Right, so here's the tail. Here's the yarn that's going to the cake. And here's where I did the weaving. And there's a loop. Like the hangman's knot. See that loop right there? Alright, we're going to leave that alone for a second. Now we're going to take our working yarn from the blanket, my cream color here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the yarn and we're going to put it through the darning, we're going to thread it through the darning needle, right? Have a little tail. I'd say at least a good 2 inches of a tail, okay? Then we're going to put this color through the loop of the purple. See that? Pull that through. And now we're going to do the same thing with weaving through the fibers. So you just let that color right there, just let it hang. And then do the weaving technique again. I split my yarn fibers. For medium worsted weight yarn, there's there's 4 plies of yarn there. We're just splitting through it. There are better tutorials out there on the internet on how to do this. If I can find the original one that I had found years ago, I will link it down in the description box because they do such a better job than I do. Alright, so there I have, right, so now I'm going to pull this. There's my loop, and this loop is hanging on that loop. Lots of loops. I'm going to pull my darning needle through, and it's going to pull that tail through. I can find the tail. There we go. I'm going to take the darning needle off because I don't need it now anymore. And then I'm going to take the purple yarn tail, the cream yarn tail, and I'm going to pull them like this. Now you're going to take this, scoot it down, pull again. Scoot this down, pull again. And then you're going to take the working yarn and you're going to stretch it back out. See that? Does it look a little lumpy? Yes, but that's fine. When you work it into your pattern, you won't even know it's there. Now, I have a little left hanging out here. I will cut this after I do my single crochets, okay? I just leave it on there for now. Just leave them there, okay? Alright, where's my hook? Alright, so now we're just going to keep right on going. 1, 2, 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 1, 2, and see? There's the tail. And now the tail's on the back side of the stitch. And I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to cut that off. And then I just rub it and then it disappears. See, there was a little bit of a tail there. Some of it will pop back out and it just needs to be snipped again. Alright, so I'm going to do a chain 2. And you see how the yarn's a little thicker because it doubled back on itself, but that's how the Russian join works. It's beautiful and it's so simple once you get the hang of it. Now mind you, it took me months to get the hang of it, to get my fingers to do it properly. Alright, there's my chain 2, and then right there, see where it joined? There's no knot there. There's 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 3 single crochets, chain 2, and 1, 2, 3. Alright, so there's the tail on the back there. Now be careful when you bring your scissors in to cut. You do want to cut as close as you can to get all that tail off of there, but just be careful not to cut your stitches. Some people, they get their scissors a little too close and they accidentally snip your stitch, and then when you do that, it will unravel. So a word of caution for that, okay? So, see how close I am to the end of the row? And there. Now we get to start with Bumbleberry. Let's see. Chain 2. 3 single crochets. Chain 2. Single crochet in the chain 1 space. Single crochet in the last stitch. Chain 2 and turn. Single crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, skip this single crochet, and then 3 single crochets in the chain 2 space, chain 2, and 3 single crochets in the chain 2 space. Okay, now I want to show you guys my notes on how I keep track of what row I'm on because I actually write all this out old school. Okay, so like here's my pattern. Row 1, since it doesn't repeat. Row 2, because it doesn't repeat. Row 3 and how it's done. Row 4 and how it's done. These are crochet symbols, which means single crochet, chain 2, single crochets. So then here's row 5 with a little check box, and then here's row 6 with a little check box. So when I finish row 5, I put a check mark. When I finish row 6, I put a check mark. When I do row 7, which is a repeat of row number 3, I do a check mark. And that's how I keep track. That's how I knew I was here on row 19. And then I put a line through it because part of row 19 has a color change to the next cake. So now that I'm done 19, I will put a check mark in there, and I just started row 20. That, and I see it like it goes up to row 48, but I will fill this in when I get down here. So that's how I keep track of the rows. I think that's pretty simple and brilliant, but simple. Alright, so let's keep crocheting, huh? If you guys don't mind listening to me count to myself. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I always double check. Like when I put my work down and then I pick it up, I just double check. There's 1, 2, 3 stitches in there. You just double check real quick. It takes like 2 seconds to make sure that you are where you think you're at. You know? 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, 3, and now these stitches here just covered up our color change in case there was any little bit of yarn tail sticking out. And look at that, all done. One, 2, 3, chain 2. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. I'm going to work all the way to the end of this row with you guys, so crochet along with me. And then I have to stop doing this around the camera because it really is super uncomfortable. There's got to be a better way, right? So, 1, 2, 3, chain 2. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. Oh, I know. Let's where's my phone? Let's get my camera loaded up, right? Video. And like that. There we go. And say hi. See how uncomfortable this is? Alright, let's see. Where were we? Did my chain 2. Let's go 1, 2, 3, chain 2. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. 1, 2, 3 single crochets, chain 2. Skip those 3. 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, skip 3, work in the chain 2 space, 1, 2, 3, chain 2. Yeah, see, the blanket keeps trying to fall. It's starting to get heavy now. And it's not even all that big and it's getting heavy. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, chain 2. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 3 single crochets, chain 2. Okay, little note for the ladies who live in the UK or European countries. It's all US terminology. Look, I'm a mess. I just knocked my yarn down, moved my step stool, moved my tripod. Oh my goodness, I'm a mess today. So anyway, US terminology, which is different than UK terminology. Alright, chain 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3 single crochet. You know I'm not going to edit that out. I'm just going to leave it in there because that is real life. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I gotta tell you, I like the purple next to the green. I think that's coming out really nice. And I don't think the dark purple was the place to start. I definitely, the lighter purple. So if you find that the color changes do not work for you, do not be afraid to snip it and start where it would make more sense for you. Don't be afraid. Okay. 1, 2, 3. If you're not comfortable trying out if a Russian join is new for you, if you're not comfortable trying it out because you practice on a different project or just with leftover yarn till you get the hang of it, because that's what I did. I used to practice on leftover yarn until I can get the hang of it. If you're not comfortable with it, just join the yarn in whichever way makes sense to you, whatever you're comfortable with. Because, you know, you put 10 different crocheters in a room and they will all have 10 different ways to join a new ball of yarn. So when you see when I come up to this is not, I'm just using it to mark where the color changes happen so you guys can see it in the videos. It's not really for any other purpose than that, just to see where the color changes happen. Alright, we're almost to the end of the row. 1, 2, 3 single crochets, chain 2, the next chain 2 space, 1, 2, 3 single crochets, chain 2, alright, almost to the end. You think if we crochet faster we'll get there faster? You know I do that. I kind of speed up when I get to the end of the row. 1, 2, 3, Okay, so I have 2 single crochets. I'm going to do a chain 1 and then a single crochet in that last stitch, and that brings us to the end of the row. Okay, what do you think of that so far? Looks pretty. I like it. So what do you say we turn around? I'll sit on that side. We'll chat for a few minutes. Okay. Okay, crocheters, I can tell you that as this blanket gets bigger, it's going to be harder for me to film it like that, so I'm definitely going to have to find another way. Maybe I can enlist the help of my husband or one of the kids to hold the camera over so you can see in my lap, because that might be better, because as it gets bigger, it is going to get so much harder. So I just sit the inside of Pistachio, I just sit it off to the side. It's in case I need more length to the blanket. So the same will happen with the Bumbleberry. And if I decide I like the length of the blanket when I'm done with all 5 cakes of yarn, then I will use these leftovers in another blanket. Because seriously, whoops, these Caron Cakes, I mean, they're awesome colors. They did a really good job. Even though this set is not my favorite, like the blues aren't my favorite and the reds and the grays are not my favorite, they still did a really good job with their color selection. So I am gonna crochet a little bit today and then some tomorrow. Oh no, not tomorrow. Have a trip tomorrow. Maybe tonight. I don't know. But within the next week, I'm going to be working through the Bumbleberry cake. All these purples. I'm going to be working through this. I will come back and give you another update, and then I will come back and do an outro. And that will be the end of part 3, which is just working the body of the blanket. And by body, I mean, you know, not the first rows, not the last rows, the middle section, which is the body of the blanket. Right? Yeah, so I mean, I'll come back and I'll give you guys an update and show you the purple as I go along, and I will catch you guys later. Bye! So a real quick color change update. Right about here, I leave the lightest shade of purple behind and go into a little bit of a darker color. See that? I know that it doesn't look like there's much of a difference, but it did get darker. So, that's a color change update. Okay, I am still on the same day of filming. You see, I showed you where the first color change happened from the lighter purple to the next shade of purple. And then, here's the next shade. Now this purple has a lot of blue undertones, but that is our next color change. So my blanket's coming along nice. You see all that texture that's on there? Oh, it's pretty. So I will see you guys for the next color change, or maybe when I'm done altogether. I'm not sure. I'm losing the light for today. I'll see you guys in a day or two. Bye. Okay, crocheters, this is my blanket. It's spread out on my bed right now. Underneath of this right here, this is my temperature blanket. I'll give you guys a video on that sometime. We're not doing a crochet along. Alright, so here is Bumbleberry. I'm all done with it. Here is my first color change from the lightest shade of purple into the next shade. Here is the color change from this medium shade into this very blue undertoned purple. Okay, that's towards the end there. And then here we go into the darker shade of purple. Right? And then into the darkest shade of purple right here. Now, because you know I cut my cakes, okay, I change where I start with my colors, right? So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 rows out of the lightest shade of purple, and then I got 4 rows out of the next shade. And then 4 rows out of this one, that's the very blue undertones. And then when we go into this darker color, I got 4 rows out of that. Now this last darkest shade of purple, I only got 1 row and a little more than 3/4. I'm right there at the end. So what I would like to do, I would like to attach this from here, the leftovers that I took out, right? And I'm going to attach it. I'm going to finish this row off with the purple. I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to do another full row of this darkest shade of purple, because I want at least 3 to 4 rows of every color. So I had forgotten to give you guys an update. So there we go. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm sitting at my computer and I'm doing edits on this video and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot. I didn't film the outro. I didn't film the final when I was done with the purple, and then I didn't even realize I needed to add in more of the darker purple. Life has been so busy lately with the kids, and we're finishing up our summer trips and getting them in school, and today is their first day of school for my 2 teenagers in high school, so that's why I'm sitting and doing edits. So I'm so sorry, I forgot to come back and give you guys an update. So this is the end of part 3, where we are just working on the body of the blanket. I'm going to add in a little bit more purple, and then when I sit down to film video number 4, which will be part 4, I'm moving on into the, I want to say the white truffle color, and I think it's the neutrals that are grays and creams and tans and beige. I think that's the color I'm doing next. I don't have my notes up here with me because my husband's working from home and the college kid is home for the moment because class doesn't start for a little bit. So yeah, I think that's it for today's update. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find me on Facebook at Granny Square Peg on Facebook. If you want, send me an email. It's grannysquarepeg@gmail.com. Yeah, is there anywhere else you can find me? Yeah, here on YouTube, right? Guys, let me know. Are you guys making blankets along with me? Let me know. Do it over at Facebook. Just send me a message on Facebook, or, you know, post, and I'd like to see what you guys are working on. If you don't want to do it on Facebook, send me an email of your pictures of your blankets, and let me know if I have permission to use them in a video, so I can show everybody who's making what. So that's it for today. I will catch you guys in the next one, okay? Bye.